Presented by HSBC, the world's local bank.
Hello and welcome to Season 2 of Making It Big. This series chronicles the fascinating stories of Indian entrepreneurs who, in spite of numerous stumbling blocks, have made it big in their world of business. Their struggle, their experience, their achievements are truly inspirational and aspirational. In the last season, we looked at fairly big companies like Taffy, Simplex Infrastructures, Mindtree, Shree Cement, Prime Focus, to name a few. In Season 2 of Making It Big series, we will be looking at 12 divergent businesses that include even some unlisted companies. The underlying objective of this series is very clear: to find out what is the recipe for success, or in other words, what it takes to make it big. Before delving deeper into the subject, here's what Stuart Davis of HSBC, our partner for this series, has to say on Indian entrepreneurship.
Well, I've been in India for about 16 months now, and one thing that's really struck me is entrepreneurship in India. And that's entrepreneurship at the major corporate level, right through to the sole proprietor. And they all seem to have a few things in common. Number one is tremendous drive and energy, which enables them to keep going forward. Second is a tremendous confidence. The confidence they believe that they can succeed. They're confident about competing in the best of the world, and they compete without fear. And the third thing is tremendous adaptability, the ability to adjust to the financial environment, the business environment, or the regulatory environment in which they carry on business.
Thanks, Stuart. Now, before getting into the nitty-gritty of this week's episode, let me touch upon a very interesting online survey done recently. This online survey interviewed 4,000 businessmen from India and China. And what the survey found out is that Indian businessmen have succeeded despite the government. Only 11% of Indians view the government as very good, against 30% in China. 81% of Indian businessmen say the main reason for their success is jugaad, or the ability to find innovative ways around prohibitive rules and institutions. In India, the biggest immediate motivation to start a business is the success story of another entrepreneur. And that 39% people in India start business with family resources, against 19% in China. Clearly, doing business in India is really very tough. But there are many shining icons in India who have inspired a whole generation. So let me turn to one such inspirational story put together by my colleague Veena Krishna. It is the story of Blue Star Limited, promoted by Advanis. For over 6 decades now, they have been keeping us cool and quenching our thirst. This family-run business, now into the second and third generation, shows us how to succeed despite all odds. Take a look at this success story.
The brand has been imprinted on your mind right from your school days. Being installed in over 20,000 schools across the country, its cold water has quenched the thirst of school children for decades now. As a kid, you may have seen the brand at the right-hand corner of the cooler without giving it much thought. Then it followed you in your growing years at colleges, and then the brand touched you at the workplace in the form of air conditioners. The brand is all over the place. No wonder then the company is still going strong. The company is Blue Star Limited. Set up 4 years before the country's independence on 27 September 1943. This 2,600 crore rupee company is a leading manufacturer of air conditioning and refrigeration systems, which it produces through its 5 plants, 2 in Maharashtra, 1 in Gujarat, in Dadra and in Himachal Pradesh. The man who created this successful venture is Mohan Tola Singh Advani. How did it all start for this young man of 30 who migrated from Karachi to Mumbai after partition? It was a modest beginning, recalls his eldest son Ashok Advani.
He had been given training in refrigeration as a sales manager of Bombay Garage So he, understood about refrigeration. Then after the war is when he went to the US and he tied up, he saw US was the land of opportunity. So he tied up with a couple of companies there to represent them in India.
After 7 years of trading in imported water coolers and air conditioners, Mohan Advani felt confident to open a small workshop in Colaba in 1949. But those were the days of a closed economy and demand was slow to grow, says his younger son Sunil Advani.
It was a long, hard sell, and it was a long time before the market grew, because when we started out, air conditioning quickly became defined as a luxury product. Excise duty used to be 125% until as recently as 10 or 15 years ago. Now it's down to 8%. But that was a long journey to bring it down from 125% excise duty of the manufactured cost to 8%. And then the demand grew. So then advertising and all the other forms of media which lent a hand for us to project the product.
Slowly but surely, Mohan Advani built a reputation and brand that became easily accepted in the corporate world. This reputation stood his two sons, Ashok and Sunil, in good stead when their father passed away in 1974. Blue Star managed to grow its share of business in spite of tough competition from both domestic and foreign players like Voltas, LG, Hitachi, Carrier, Daikin, Samsung, and then from new entrants like ETA, Sterling and Wilson in the project business. At this time, when most around were roping in a foreign partner to stay ahead of competition, the Advani brothers consciously decided against it. They remained an indigenous company. They kept to what they know best, that is, being a B2B air conditioning and refrigeration company. Of course, like all businessmen, they too got tempted and diversified into newer businesses like refrigerators and TVs, PCs and EPA-BXs. But all these forays did not measure up to their expectations, so they wound up all the operations. The lesson learnt: if you concentrate on top line, you tend to take up all kinds of businesses that destroy shareholder value. They adhered to their father's philosophy. They stayed focused and did not lose heart with big names entering the arena. Uday Kotak, who was on the board of Blue Star as a non-executive director from 1995 to 2002, has witnessed the trials and tribulations that the company has gone through over the years.
Blue Star, as we know, has had a history of doing many things as it was trying to define its identity. And I do believe that it has now really built a very good business in its core specialization, and which is both commercial as well as in the segments it has chosen to be. And it serves its customers well. It is focused. It has gone through turbulence as well from time to time because of the cyclicality of the economy, but has come out of it stronger over time.
Those days, India's manufacturing capability was always questioned across the sector. To stay ahead of the curve and redefine their business, the Advani brothers in 1996 roped in Satish Jamdar to head their manufacturing operations, a thoroughbred professional in the manufacturing field, a man who had over 35 years of experience in manufacturing, having worked in companies like Siemens, Alstom and BPL Sanyo.
A very important thing happened in Blue Star, that we hired Mr. Satish Jamdar, who currently is our managing director, and he completely transformed our manufacturing division. I hired him to build and run a factory, a new factory for us in Dadra. He did a superlative job, went on to head another factory, the third, and then he built the other factories. So that was a very, very important phase of the company's growth and success.
Today, Mr. Jamdar is leading the company in new directions, electromechanical projects business.
Can we not expand our projects business? We're doing air conditioning projects. Customers are looking at what is called MEP, which is air conditioning, electrical, plumbing, firefighting, the whole thing, which is a model quite common in the Middle East, where a lot of our people go, and we also had some forays there. And that's beginning to happen in India also. It's easy, I mean, see from a common sense point of view, customer sees I don't have to have 5 agencies working here, tripping over each other, I got to coordinate between them, rather give it to someone who will do it himself. We didn't have that capability, so how to acquire it, try to build it yourself, or that's when the question of an acquisition came up as a strategic acquisition, supporting inorganic growth rather than just growing organically. That's, I think, a big mental shift.
This mental shift is influenced by the third generation of the Advani family, Veer Advani, son of Sunil Advani, who came on board 3 years back after completing his degree in economics and system engineering from the US. It is under him that the company made the first of its 2 major acquisitions within the last 3 years.
I think the big difference is going to be that we're going to achieve those kind of aggressive growth targets through slightly different strategy. We have, I think 2000 to 2010 was about growing our air conditioning business. Now looking forward, we're looking at electromechanical work, so we broaden the definition of our core competence. We now define as electromechanical. And with that, we're also looking to expand beyond commercial real estate. We're looking at residential, we're looking at industrial, we're looking at infrastructure, power sector, water sector. Again, definition is electromechanical work in all these segments.
Learning the hard way is reflected in the company's turnover. It took them 60 years to touch the 600 crore rupee turnover mark. Thereafter, it took them just 7 years to take the turnover to 2,600 crore rupees in 2010. And the future is even brighter.
What we're looking at is a near-term target. We finished last year at about 2,600 crores of revenue. Our near-term target is 5,000 crores. We think we can do that in 3 years. And then beyond that, I'll switch over from revenue. We then have order book targets because, the company is turning more and more into a projects business as we look forward. So order book becomes very important. So we're looking at ways to increase so we ended last year with a carry forward of about 1,800 crores. We're currently working on a business plan to see how in a 5-year period we can end with about an 8,000 crore order book.
Clients vouch for the company's future. The well-known architect Sandeep Shikre, who has a long association with Blue Star, has seen the company grow from strength to strength.
Blue Star has been working on our project since early 90s, and I can say that our relations with them are almost 2 decades now. And we value them as one of the very strong, reliable, reputed firm. And earlier they were doing a lot of our air conditioning projects, but recently they are doing our mechanical and electrical both. And they have a passion to develop as a MEP firm, whereby they would do mechanical, electrical, plumbing under one umbrella. And currently that is a need of a construction industry. The best part of their team is that they have a good people right from top till bottom. And also what I've observed that their internal communication system is very, very nice. They are far superior when we compare them with other agencies.
With infrastructure taking off in a big way in India, Blue Star is all positioned to take the maximum advantage. But the journey to get here has been a long one. We get up close and personal with the management of Blue Star and its lifeline, its banker, to take us through what went behind making it big.